And speaking of voices, let's head on out to the Ramos Law Hotline. Car accident, you need Ramos Law. Medical doctor and attorney, find them at ramoslaw.com, where we are joined by the voice of the Colorado State Rams. He is Brian Roth. Brian, what's up, brother?
Well, not much. Just enjoying a Wednesday afternoon. How are you guys doing? I guess a Wednesday morning here, not quite afternoon.
I'm doing great, B. Roth. It's good to hear your
Yeah.
voice. I love your voice.
That's right. Mike, what's up, man?
How are those pipes healing, man? From you had a heck of a season between a nice run with the CSU Rams in basketball and even first bowl game in quite some time for the CSU football team. How are those pipes healing up after a really big year of calling significant games?
Yeah, no, it was a great season for Colorado State, no question about that. And you know me, and I kind of like probably a coach when the season ends, man. I hit the eject button and I don't talk for a long time. So I've kind of become a hermit. Golf course, little league baseball with my son, and it's been awesome. But you know what? We're talking about the draft. College football starting to kind of get going. I'm starting to get that itch for the start of a new college sports season, no doubt.
Yeah, night one tonight of the NBA draft, and Nique Clifford, a player that you got to know very well. Tell us a little bit about Nique and his overall process and what you expect out of him in the draft. What are you hearing about where potentially Nique could end up? Not necessarily team, but whereabouts he could be selected in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you guys. I'm interested in the mock drafts, right? And of course, there's a bazillion out there. Does anybody really know? Of course not. Some people make educated guesses. Others are throwing darts at a dartboard. But you know, I mean, he's going to be in the teens, into the early 20s. I don't see him going past 25. Maybe he will. You just never know how the draft. I didn't think David Roddy was going to be a top 25 pick a couple of years ago. I thought he was probably going to be a second round pick, and then there's Memphis that drafts him. So you just don't know how a draft night is going to transpire. But you know, I'll tell you this: Nique Clifford is first off a grade A individual and a guy that's just a true class act. And so when you look at him, and obviously you're looking at on court stuff, but when you look at the off court stuff, there are zero red flags and only positives when you talk about work ethic, competitive drive, teammate, basketball IQ, right? I mean, he checks all of those boxes. And then obviously he was able to show this year exactly what he was able to do, on the court, and a breakout season. It was super fun to have a front row seat, really the last 2 years, but in particular this season.
When you talk about Nique and his comps in the NBA, what's his closest comp to a current player?
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, it's because you just don't know, because guys evolve, right? I mean, guys evolve once they get in the NBA. I mean, I've heard maybe a less physical Josh Hart perhaps out there, and yeah, I think he might be a little longer than a Christian Brown, but I think he has the same type of motor and the same type of skill set as a Christian Brown has. I'm not saying he's going to turn into Christian Brown. I mean, I think Nique Clifford has a real opportunity to be a 10-year NBA vet, and to be a rotation guy as early as next year. And so it's hard to really project. I mean, yeah, I hope Nique becomes a decade plus starter in the NBA, but you just don't know. And obviously finding the right spot on draft day, right? In those first 3 years of your NBA career, can you find a place that is going to be a good fit for you and your skill set?
The morning sprint is joined on the Ramos Law Hotline with the voice. Yep, the voice. That's your keyword.
You love a keyword, don't
I love
you?
a keyword to win your core four score here of the CSU Rams. That's my guy, Brian Roth. I call him B. Roth because it's my dude. Brian, Ali Farokhmanesh takes over as the head coach for the CSU Rams. And we all know that the college basketball landscape for the last several years, it's not really a new development, is all about transfers in versus transfers out. This is going to be a new look Ram team. What do you make of how Ali's been doing so far as the head coach at CSU? And most importantly, how has he acquitted this roster to be competitive and hold up the standard that was set so high by Niko Medved?
Yeah, for sure. And look, it was a no-brainer choice when Niko Medved really made a no-brainer decision to go to Minnesota, where he's from, where he went. He was an assistant coach there, and plus they're paying him $3 million. So that was a no-brainer decision for Niko to leave. No-brainer decision for Colorado State to hire Ali Farokhmanesh. When you talk about Nique Clifford and really what he has become, Nico Medved deserves certainly credit, but there was no bigger influence on Nique Clifford becoming a nice college basketball player into an NBA prospect than Ali Farokhmanesh. And that is a guy that has been working nonstop with Nique Clifford over the last 2 years, before practice, after practice. I usually get to the arena 2 hours before game time, and it's Nique Clifford and Ali Farokhmanesh on the court going through a myriad of moves. He is an excellent player developer, and he's kind of been that secret sauce as a player developer within the program. Now as you become the head coach, it's more about the CEO overseeing an entire organization rather than the guy that's out there. Not to say that he won't be, but the guy that's out there really working on player development, that a lot of times falls, at least the heavy part of that, onto the assistant coaching staff. So, look, Ali Farokhmanesh, I mean, his basketball playing career speaks for itself. He's an excellent up and coming young basketball coach, and yeah, I think Colorado State's going to be in good shape. I like what they have coming in the recruiting class. Obviously, ton of transfer guys. And you just don't know, though, in this day of age, like what's a transfer class going to turn out to be? We thought the transfer class last year for Colorado State turned out to be a dud about midway through the, so not even midway, but in the early December when Colorado blew them out by 25 in Boulder. But then they finally started to gel. So it's hard to really predict how transfers are going to come in and how teams are going to gel from year to year.
You're going to get a first rounder out of those transfers as well coming up. Hopefully tonight, somewhere in the high teens to early 20s, Nique Clifford could be selected, has been invited by the NBA to the green room. Speaking of the CEOs, the two CEOs there with Ali Farokhmanesh and Jay Norvell, which CEO is better set up for success this year?
Well, I'll start with this. Jay Norvell has a lot more pressure on him to set himself up for success. Obviously, it's year number 4. Colorado State went to a bowl game last year, and the expectations are extremely high from the president of the university to the athletic director, and then of course down into the fan base. I mean, this is a baseline must-win 8-win season for Colorado State. And again, it goes back to like, okay, transfer portal, Colorado State lost some very good players, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, but they really felt like they added a lot of pieces, not sexy big name pieces where you're paying guys $750,000 to come play for you. But that doesn't mean you can't go out there and find good players in the transfer portals that are just looking for new opportunities or looking for more playing time. So, I think CSU football is going to be a wild card. I have a hard time placing a win total that I think that they're going to win here this year. It's really hard for me to do that. But I'll say this. I think in basketball, since there are fewer pieces that you need, if you can find that Nique Clifford, right, or find one or two of those guys, you can turn it around a lot quicker in the sport of basketball just because there's less variables and less players. So hard question to answer. I think the CSU basketball team is going to be really good next year. I think they're going to have a chance to compete for a Mountain West Conference championship. Football could, just not as convinced because so many unknowns of a 100+ man roster.
Brian Roth, the voice of the Colorado State Rams, as we get you out of here, what hat does Nique Clifford wear tonight?
Man, that's a good question. Maybe Oklahoma City. I don't know.
Don't do that to us, Brian.
Utah Jazz.
Hey, get this man off. Get this man off our airwaves.
I know. It's hard.
Is Brian Roth the new Chris Mannix? Boo! Is he the Chris Mannix?
And the interesting thing is, I don't want him to go to Oklahoma City because I want him to get a chance to come in and play right away, right? And I mean, we watched Oklahoma City throughout the last 2.5 months. I mean, the depth that they had, didn't want to say single-handedly, but it was a massive factor in leading them to an NBA championship. But I just reading a lot of the mock drafts, I mean, Oklahoma City seems to really like him. And again, Utah is another one of those, division rivals.
Cool.
But
go to Utah.
We place where I think he can come in and play.
We do not want him in Oklahoma City.
I just want, because I love Nique. He is an awesome dude. I love his parents, and to be around him the last 2 years, I want him to have success. So no matter where it is, even if it is Oklahoma City, wherever the best opportunity for him to have a good start to his NBA career, build a foundation so that he can play in the league for 10+ years, that's where I want him to go.
Brian Roth, the voice of the CSU Rams, courtesy of the Ramos Law Hotline. Brian, thank you so much for your time today, man.
Get off our show.
I agree.
No problem, guys. Thanks.